I was thinking about how people have this idea, and this is almost for everyone, big percentage of the population, where they feel that their way is the only way. Like, if you're not believing what they believe, then you're wrong, right?
Yeah.
And we have this like extreme hypocrisy, especially on the quote unquote left side, where people think that everyone should be conforming to that view, right? And they think that they're better than the other side because their views may be more progressive. However, they are just as rigid as the other side for wanting everyone to conform to the way that they see, instead of realizing that it takes every single view and every single thought and process and understanding of this world to make it happen. And so that was something that I wanted to talk about.
I like it. I think the camera angle was perfect at that moment.
I know that
is
exactly. It's that.
Yeah, I think what comes up for me when you say that is just this whole cancel culture thing, right? That if you do not believe, or the mainstream narrative, whatever that is right now, and also like you said, the left is really good at this right now, because it's kind of always seemed to be, like, growing up, it seemed like it was the opposite, right? Not the opposite, but that both sides have that. Whatever the sides are,
exactly.
Right? Everybody.
If you're on a side, you think you're same mentality.
Right. If you have identified yourself as a side,
yes,
that is. I think that is the first challenge that we face, and the first thing that's very problematic is identifying yourself or labeling yourself as this or that. Right.
Exactly.
And as soon as you do that, you have become narrow and limited.
Yep.
And you cannot know the world as a whole, holistic place, and you cannot know yourself as a whole, holistic person.
Exactly. Completely.
Yeah.
And so this has been something that's been sitting with me, and as I'm making the documentary surrounding death, this is actually one of the biggest things, because one of the interviews of myself that I was doing the other day surrounded the fact that all fear stems from death. And everyone on the left side is fearful of what's happening on the right side because they equate it to death, right? Yes. And it comes back down to like the idea of war. Everyone's for war. Support our troops, support this, support that, as long as it's benefiting them. Yeah. Right? So no one ever thinks about like the consequences of what's happening on the other end of it. It's all just like, oh, well, I don't need to think about that side because it's benefiting me right now. Okay? And it's like the second something turns though, and the war impacts them, all of a sudden they don't want war. It's, we need peace. We need this because it's affecting me.
And my family.
Yes.
Yeah. People are very service to, the majority of folks I think on the planet right now are service to self-oriented, which is not necessarily a bad thing either, because it's their path, their journey. However, it does not call for like any sort of, wholeness or unity, consciousness or oneness or,
It's not. It's all just a different side of the picture that they're claiming is correct or not correct.
Which, how can, on a relative level, everything is true and right to the person that believes it's true and right. Everybody's right.
So there's two sides to it. Yeah. Right? But that's just it, is they don't see that just because they're right doesn't make the other person wrong. Exactly. Like everyone thinks, and that's how I view things, is like, for me, what I think is right. Like, that's my view, that's my belief. Yeah. Even if it's limited in that moment, it's still my truth, right?
Right. And that can be very serving sometimes.
And yes. However, does that mean that I think everyone else is wrong? Well, okay, I think the whole population is wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you're not.
I think it's twisted. I don't think it's wrong.
Things. Yeah.
I just think people need to expand their minds and remember that everyone has their own truth, and to shut another person down because they don't think the same as you,
right,
it creates more of the chaos that you're seeking to rid. Yes. And it doesn't make sense, and it's a little bit frustrating for me at times when I'm like, how are they not seeing this? That what they're wanting to get rid of is exactly what they're doing. Yep. And you can't get rid of something by doing the same thing that you're trying to get rid of. Yeah. It just doesn't operate that way.
Yeah.
And so when you come from that space, it's just like, how can you say you're any better than the other side? Like
It's how humans protect, themselves. They protect their ego and they protect their identity, which again, the ego is I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
No, it's not.
It's just that is the way we have learned to exist, because without a belief, without a this is right and this is the way the world is, if one has to question that, then they have to question everything. They have to question,
Bingo.
Who am I? Like,
Bingo.
yeah, and so that is becoming this time in the world. I think the thing that people are most afraid of underneath it all is actually looking at themselves under a microscope.
And that's exactly where the fear comes from, though. It's like, let's point fingers at everybody else.
Right. Yep.
So then I don't have to see what's going on within myself.
Yeah.
And and I had another thing. But one of the biggest things that I tell my clients in coaching is, don't listen to anyone. Don't listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't listen to other people. Don't listen to quote unquote gurus.
Right.
Like, find you. What is your truth? How do you feel about this? Like, think about, take one thing, for example, like let's say war, and really think about it. And why do you see this as good from this angle, but bad from a different angle? And really ask yourself questions, like get to know your truth, not anyone else's.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not here to tell you what to believe. I'm here to help you find what you'd believe.
What feels right for you.
Yeah.
And there are external things like teachers and guides and coaches that may share something, that may point to something that resonates, and then then that means it's in you too. That's not like, oh, this is somebody telling, like, you have to check in with yourself. Does that resonate for me? Does that feel right for me? If it's a yes, then take it. And if it's not, then don't.
And even if it does, it doesn't mean it's the whole truth. It means that it's just striking something to ignite a bigger picture.
Right, within you.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. Yes. And and to that note,
on that note,
we're walking.
Yep, walking
in a really beautiful Los Feliz.
Los Angeles.
And it's sunny.
I know.
And we're in tank tops, and it's almost December.
I'm gonna take my sweater off.
Oh, look at that.
Here we go. It's coming up.
You're getting a show.
It's coming up. I do have a t-shirt on. So.
Oh, and there's dog shit. Don't step in it.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
You see? Be observant. Notice your surroundings. Just be present and be with yourself. See, there's a bee. I'm one of those people who I notice everything. Like, it's so ridiculous. While I'm talking, I can pay attention to the camera, the floor, the walls, the cars. Like, it's just something that I've been able to obtain just because I've dived into myself enough to be present with my surroundings, right? And I think my belief and my desire for humans is to reach that point where they're conscious of everything that's going on around them, using their peripheral in spiritual ways, in physical ways, just in every possible way to really be present with what's going on. And
when you are tapped into your true self, which is not the mind, by the way, it's not, your mind could never know the true self, right? Source, universe, whatever you want to call it. When you're tapped into that then you're acting, being, living from infinite intelligence versus mind intelligence. And infinite intelligence, it just naturally walks through the world in a very different way. That looks to people like, wow, why is that person so happy all the time? Or why things just work out for them, or they're in flow, or whatever. And that doesn't mean it's always like that, because
it's an ebb and flow.
It's an ebb and flow, because I've definitely had my super inner aligned moments where everything on the outside was not, and that's obviously for a purpose as well, right? It's all kind of rearranging itself. But yeah, infinite intelligence, that's what I wanted, versus like a mind intelligence. When we're talking about presence, it comes from that place.
Yes, it does. And I think that's it. I think the more present you are in your body, the more present you are in your mind, the more present you are spiritually. Like, it is all connected. And that is why for the last 12 years of my business, it's mind, body, soul. Like, it's all of them together. You can't just focus on one. And anything that you do for one of them, it's going to trickle down into the other. And mindfulness in one area is going to spread to the others. And so that is just like a reminder to be present, to see where you are, how you feel, what's your truth. When someone asks you a question, I mean, I talk about this all the time in my human design videos, but to remember that first internal voice. Is it something that you really want to do? Or are you getting that natural hesitation? And just follow it. Just trust your inner voice. Like it's there for you.
Yeah. And trust it no matter what. You know?
Right.
Like no matter what your perceived
exactly
consequence or cost or perceived sacrifice might be. There's something going on that's way beyond what a limited mind could think or know about it. So trusting.
Yes. Okay, so the point that she just last brought up actually brings me to a point of just something that just happened where my internal voice is saying no to something, even though it could be like a really great financial opportunity for me, where I just came into something and there is this opportunity that kind of presented itself to me in the form of a person who, let's just say, has the money that I need for certain projects. However, the connection itself, there was something that said no. Like, there's something out of resonance with this. Be more aware of it, and don't just say yes to something just because you might get a gain from it. If your gut, your intuition, whatever you want to call it, says no.
Yeah.
Like,
because
it won't turn out.
It's not worth it.
Exactly. It's not going to turn out how you think it's going to. And even if it does, you're going to have some kind of guilt, and I say guilt lightly because I don't really believe in guilt per se.
Yeah.
But you're going to have some kind of negative feeling behind it. That's not going to feel good.
Yeah, down the line or right away. And it is just trusting. Like when I stay true to myself in my own alignment, which to me alignment is connection to source. When I stay true to that, everything is exactly perfect. It may not always look like it.
Yeah.
But trusting that. And oh man, I have tested myself in many ways.
Me too.
Just to learn over and over and over again. Yep.
Yeah.
It's a good hill.
Yeah. And so now we're going to cut out here.
Yeah. Cutting out.
And peace.
And love.
Bye.
Bye.